And, just practicing gratitude, it keeps you aware of that. And at the same time, because all this entrepreneurship is really just like a mental game. You could have all the skills in the world. You could be really knowledgeable, and you could be really smart. You could have like a work ethic, and, you could get in your own way, and you could block yourself from success if you're not aware of that.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Moments of Aha. We want to help you understand that no one is coming to save you, but there is good news because everything that you're looking for is already inside of you. Ultimately, you are the hero that you've been searching for. So we bring on guests who have developed superpowers in order to align with their inner hero. Now, let me break down superpowers for you all. We define powers here as internal qualities or elements in which we are all born with that develop your character. Superpowers, on the other hand, is the deliberate practice and strengthening of these powers to awaken the hero within. So today's hero is a man who exemplifies what drive means. When I met him, he was only 22 years old, releasing rap albums and performing in Vegas venues. He introduced me to many of the personal development books that helped me out along my transformational journey. And as he chased his dreams to be a rapper, he worked a full-time job at one of the best steakhouses on the Strip, while also continuously learning how to become a successful entrepreneur. Curious in e-commerce, he marketed and released the Perfect Stretch and Light Up eyewear. From there, he co-created a high-end car washing and detailing app for Nouveau. Then finally, exiting the restaurant industry, he jumped headfirst into the future with Finity Smart Homes, where he leads his own team in solar. You will never see him without a smile on his face. My friend, Chris Slack.
What's going on, Jonathan? Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, dude. Very nice having you here. Very cool. You're very inspiring. So it was, one of the first people that came to mind when I was like, I need you on this podcast. So
thank you so much.
And it looks like you're taking a nice break from Vegas up in Tahoe right now.
Yeah, the air out here is amazing. It just fills you with joy.
I bet.
We don't have air like this in Vegas. It's just it's more dry heat.
Drive at least 45 minutes to get out real air. So
I know.
I'm happy for you. So to get started, the first question I have for you, I'm going to give just a little bit of context because this show is called Moments of Aha. And what we mean by aha is basically saying moments of awakening, which it could be a singular moment or perhaps the process of multiple moments over time. But I'm really curious, Chris, what was your awakening like? What was that process like?
What was that awakening like? So I would say it actually started when I was back in high school. Back in high school, so my mom used to buy my clothes, just to give you like context, and she only used to go to one store. It was like JCPenney's, and in JCPenney's they had like all the clothes back then were like baggy. They weren't really stylish. And same thing with she let me borrow a car too, and then she would get mad at me a lot. So like, Chris, your room's dirty, and I was just like, she would say, give me my car keys back. And I'm like, can I go to Circus with my friends? And she's like, no, you can't. And then she'll take my car keys back. And then that was like the moment. Same thing with the clothes, and it's just like everybody else was like wearing stylish clothes. And then one of my friends in class, I seen him selling like some candy, and I was just like, I wonder what would happen if I did that, because it just made sense. It's just like, he's selling candy, and he made $20 in a day, and I usually get like $20 in a week. And then at that moment, because I was always like hardworking, I was working at a place called Smart and Final. And at Smart and Final, I was walking in the aisle one day, and I seen like a box of Kit Kats, and usually those boxes of Kit Kats are like $22. And I was able to get it for half off. They're selling it half off to the to customers, and then I had a 10% discount on top of that. So I got it 30% off. And then I would never forget, it was after I had that one box of Kit Kats, I was in front of, after third period, I was just like asking people, well, I don't know. I was thinking to myself, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to just ask people, like, do you want to buy some candy? And that was my line. Do you want to buy some candy? And then I would stand in front of the hallway, and, you know, I sold them all of that, like, in like 5 minutes. And I was just like, that was the quickest $15 I made in my entire life. So I reinvested that, and I reinvested it, and I reinvested it. And then there was a moment where I had, you know, like 4 workers working for me. I bought a Monte Carlo. It was black, and I put like big shiny rims on it. And I used to get pulled over all the time in that car. But yeah, they were thinking I was doing something else other than selling candy. I just will never remember it, but never forget it. But that was like the moment of aha into entrepreneurship, I would say. And then, you know, after high school, I was still thinking in like, how can I sell candy? And, you know, obviously you're not going to sell candy after, like, in college. It's just, it's not the thing, right? So, you know, I felt like I lost that for a little bit. And then, you know, getting back into the restaurant industry, that's, you know, the second aha moment I had. So it was two altogether.
Dude, that is such a good story. And I would have never guessed that you were making that money in high school with selling, because I have some really good friends that would do that in like elementary school. And, you know, they always were slinging candy. And I'm just like,
yeah.
But you took that as like a career in high school to really set yourself up. And, you know, it sounds like a simple story, but even back then you had a team. And, you know, when I think about when I watch you, and when I ever since I've ever known you, Chris, you've always had a group of individuals around you to be in a mastermind or having a team. And so tell me, like, what's the importance of actually being around a team, and what does that do for you?
Yeah. So if you read the book, this is actually one of my favorite books, you know, Napoleon Hill, Law of Success. And he stresses in there to have a team and to move unified, have a unified vision, unified goal, right? So crazy thing, if you're the way you will attract your team, your people around you, because like it or not, you always have an environment that you're in, you know, and your energy and what you put out into the world, that's what you get back. So whatever that is, you know, if you're making sure you're aligned, you know, you have integrity, you have visions for the future, you have goals, and you're really driven, and you're not going to compromise on that. Those are the type of people that you'll have in your atmosphere. Even if they're not the one with all the ideas and the creator, there's people who will follow you, and they'll support you on your cause. So going back to your question, like, what is important about that? One, you want to make sure your environment is always supportive. So, and then the crazy thing is, when you are the one leading that environment, you know, you dictate pretty much everything that happens afterwards. So if you decide you don't want to do something, then your whole group will follow too. But at the same time, if you have very creative vision and you're really strong and you're aligned with that, you'll have a mastermind, which creates, so if 5 people are together, you know, 5 people have their individual minds, all of them together on the same page, on the same goal, the same vision. That's going to create another mind, because everybody has their own individual thoughts. Everybody has their own blind spots. The purpose of having founding of people who are in a group and who are very supportive. So mastermind, yeah, it definitely is one of the key goals to, or key things to have in order to be successful. You can't really do that without a team.
I love that more than you could even imagine, Chris. Yeah, you are the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I think that quote gets so watered down, and the value that it actually gives, people miss it. They think that it's just, you have to find 5 friends. No, it's elevating to having 5 people together, of what you said, creating another mind. And just in having that, it already raises your own energy and progresses you forward into a way that you could never imagine that you can accomplish with multiple people, more than what you could actually accomplish by yourself. And so that kind of leads me to also mentorship, because I know you're a mentor to many individuals and you have such a beautiful, positive influence on people. Now, I'm curious, how has mentorship actually helped you grow in your life?
Yeah, mentorship is I would say that's my biggest one of my biggest investments. That's all I poured into, because if you think about it, let's say if you are a leader, it's like having two cups. So you're a leader, and then you have your people who are you're leading, right? So when you're leading, you're pouring water out of your cup into them, right? And then let's say something happens and you're tired that day, and what happens, you're still leading your team. So it's just like, okay, well, you're going to pour more water and more water and more water and more water. So with mentorship, and then it gets to a point where your cup is empty, right? Yeah, your team pours back into you as well, but let's say it pours back evenly, back and forth, and your cup is just halfway full. The whole goal of mentorship is to elevate you, because you want to surround yourself with people who are way, way, way past you. Somebody who has like what you want and is doing what you're doing. That's the person you want to study to the T, because they're the ones who already been down the path you already walked. So mentorships for every area in life. I did it for dating. I did it for exercise. That's why people get trainers for the gym. I did it for marketing, sales, door to door, all of those areas. I've always had a mentor, and I believe that's why everything I do ends up working out, even when we're working in the restaurants. I used to look up to a lot of people in there. I'm like, how do I become a servant? I used to ask them their questions. What's your secret? How do you do that? And without those that guidance, it wouldn't, I would never get to the actual goal. So mentorship is something that I highly believe in, and yeah, that's the one thing I'll always keep: mentorship.
Yeah, I would say that is probably one of the best explanations I've heard in mentorship. With, as a leader, you're filling up other individuals' cups. And that means that to fill your cup up, you look up to someone else and they fill your cup up by being a good follower as well. Not just being a good leader, but also being a good follower at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Kevin Trudeau talks about, in a lot of his teachings, having a teachable index. What is your teachable index? What does that look like? And teachable index is just, how are you teachable? Like, are you even teachable? Because sometimes you'll get to a point where you kind of get this, your ego, and ego is the enemy, and you'll get, let's say you get somewhat good in sales or whatever it is, you kind of get arrogant and you forget. You're like, well, you stop taking in advice, right? And that's the most dangerous place to be in, because you think you're good, but you got to remember, what's your definition of good? There's people who maybe think I'm good, but there's people who I know who will run circles around me, and they're 50 years old. So it's just like, what is the definition of good? Because there's always room for improvement, and having that, being aware and always, listening to others and having a teachable index, that's very important for growth. So having a teachable index, that's something that Kevin Trudeau talks about. So I highly recommend, listening to him as well too. Another one of my mentors. And it could always be, with mentors, it's just your surroundings, whatever you listen to, that could also be a form of mentorship. It doesn't have to be right in front of you, because when you first start off, you can't pay for mentors. It's like you have to Google stuff for free on YouTube, but that's just as good.
Yeah, it's so valuable what you're saying right now. And, one of the powers that I actually had for you is leadership. And, for that reason is, one is having that white belt mentality, that you're always a beginner. And even though that we're far along on our journey, there's always things to learn and develop and to get better. And you've done this with such finesse. You don't have this ego attached. Like I said in the intro, like, I always see you smiling. You're always lighting up. And I'm curious, where did that attitude come from? Is it something that you've always just been like super happy and always laughing and joking around and having fun? Or is it something that you've had to like cultivate inside of yourself along your way?
Honestly, you know what? That's a good thing you say that, because yeah, I would smile, um, you know, here and there, but it actually came from you, surprisingly or not. You're like, I was in, it was like back at Gordon Ramsay Steak. This was like years ago. This is like 6 years ago. And man, being in there sometimes for 8 hours, I was just like, I want to go home. And then my face would just be like super serious. Like, I'm not kidding with these guests. I'm not playing. Just want to go home. And then you walked up to me, you're just like, Chris, you should smile more. And I was just like, oh, interesting. And then ever since then.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's weird, man. It's the weird things that stick with you. But, I just remember that. Just like, yeah, why not? And then, smiling makes you feel better anyways. If you feel down that day or anything, you just smile on your face. And then it's kind of hard to frown and smile at the same time. So, I practice gratitude. Like that'll keep a smile on your face as well.
Yeah, I almost remember that day, and it was because you're usually bouncing around and you are smiling, and it is really difficult. Anyone that's never worked in the service industry, it is extremely challenging to put on a performance every single day for your customers and your guests, and then you have the coworkers that you have to get along with, that some of them, like what you said, practicing gratitude is huge. And a lot of them don't practice gratitude, and that energy is contagious. You are the 5 people you hang out with the most. When you're in a restaurant with people that are complaining all the time, coworkers that is, it's hard to keep that energy high. And you were one of those 5 people in that restaurant that had such a positive influence and light that was transferable to other people around you, always playing and laughing. And just, I remember, seeing you that day, and there was something that definitely got to you, and it was probably working with someone that we, know that definitely feel your energy in a moment, working with them.
Yeah.
And, just that little comment, it's amazing that little stuff like that can actually shift someone's perspective. So that's really cool, Chris. And I'm curious, since you brought up gratitude, what does gratitude mean to you, and how can people develop more gratitude? What are some tools how they can actually develop gratitude in their life?
Man, I love gratitude. So one thing that we practice on every day in our group is gratitude. So we wake up, the first thing, this is what I wake up to, like text in the morning. Hey, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this. And that's, because that's the first thing you check on your phone. And it's kind of hard to be mad when, like, if you wake up and then the first thing you see on your phone is just like, hey, I'm great, guys. I'm so grateful for the community we have. People always looking to level up. Affinity fam. So it's like gratitude it's very important. Like when you're tired, or when you're sad or anything, it's always gonna remind you for what you have, because let's say you broke your leg, you lost your girlfriend, and you lost your job at the same time, and you just feel like, man, my life sucks right now, and you could always think to yourself like it could always be worse, and just practicing gratitude, just it keeps you aware of that. And at the same time, because all this entrepreneurship is really just like a mental game. You could have all the skills in the world. You could be really knowledgeable, and you could be really smart. You could have like a work ethic, and you could get in your own way, and you could block yourself from success if you're not aware of that, right? So with gratitude is something that we've always practiced. Just to, like, Ricky Mendez, he was one of my mentors as well, and he put a really good twist on this, because sometimes you're tired. Like yesterday, I was like really tired and my legs were hurting because I was working so hard throughout the week. And even in those moments, you want to practice gratitude. It's just like, okay, well, I'm grateful for these moments of being tired and weak, because this reminds me that I can actually work and I can actually go out there and make a living for myself. And also it reminds me too that, I have been working hard. So I have been giving this on my all, so gratitude, you can find it in anything, man. Grateful for water, grateful for this air, and that fills your spirit up with joy, and that's how you should look at every single day.
Mm. Yeah, I appreciate that. I have gratitude just towards that exercise that you do with your team, Chris. Super powerful, right? Waking up that rather than just scrolling on something. I'm curious, what does your morning routine look like? So you wake up and you get to look at that. What do you do to move forward in your day so that you are set up for success?
Yeah, so a few things that I always do. Wake up, practice gratitude. After gratitude, I'll write my goals. I've been usually writing them on a piece of paper, but now I write them on like Asana, like a rolling task list. After that, I'll jump into the shower. That kind of wakes me up. After that, do a little reading on either Audible or, I'll read through an actual book. Then from there, that's when I prepare my food, and then I'm pretty much ready to go for the day. So that whole process takes about an hour. And then after that, that sets me up, so it gives me energy, and then I'm ready to go.
What time do you usually wake up?
It varies from usually 7 a.m. sharp. 7 a.m. sharp, sometimes 6, really depends.
Yeah, that's a great routine. And, how you start your day really builds the momentum of how you perform in the day. And, I think a lot of us sometimes forget that momentum carries you away. And so by starting out with a very solid foundation of a routine to empower you, to help you learn and use your mind, to exercise, to eat healthy, to be grateful, all of a sudden the day unfolds in a way that's so much more prosperous for your spirit than just moving through the day and just letting the day take you away. It's more conscious, it's more intentional. So that's an amazing routine.
Yeah, and everybody has a morning routine or night routine, whether they know it or not. Because we, as humans, we're all animals of habit, creatures of habit. So either way, whether you want to think about it or not, everybody has a morning routine. You just don't realize you might wake up on the same side of the bed, do the same thing, check your phone, and it's crazy if you actually put your awareness to it. Like, what do I actually do? Because I know for sure I have a night routine, because my guys, like all my friends tell me, like in my immediate group, Chris always calls me at 12 a.m. with all these crazy ideas. So I know, and I do that every single night. It's like, that's when the bulbs come on. I had them yesterday. I was just like, oh, I'm ready to go. And I was just writing them on my phone. It's weird, man. One of those things. But yeah, everybody has a routine.
Yeah, I love that. And I hope everyone listening really pays attention to that. Every single one of us have a morning and nighttime routine, whether you are aware of it or not. And I think that is such wise advice, is to pay attention to that and at least ask the question, what do I do?
What do I do? It doesn't have to be a routine that you do, but if you know what you do, that it's more so awareness.
So one of the other superpowers that I have for you is drive. And how we define drive at a Heroes Academy is perseverance plus resilience equals drive. And so I'm really asking this question right now for individuals that feel like they only know how to do this, fill in the blank over here. They've been doing it for years. They develop their skill sets, and that's just what they know. And there's almost a fear of trying something new, or feeling like they're not good enough, or there's a learning curve when people do try something new, and sometimes they give up or get burnt out. There's a discouragement around that. But you've dabbled in so many different things, in so many different industries. So I'm curious, how do you keep such a positive attitude and state of being when you are learning something new? And what's that process of learning look like for you when you do jump into a new industry?
Yeah, so I mean, the way I would say I always handled that well, this is, just God's gift, as far as like having the internal drive to like always want more, no matter what it is. It's just like I always wanted more. I always wanted to create something, and that was kind of my vision. I always wanted to leave an impact, and through music, I was able to leave an impact because what you're saying, your words, they're powerful. Music is like a universal language, and then when you're able to share that with other people, it brings some joy, it brings some happiness, and that was my like concept behind that. I always wanted to be in service of others. That's why I went to be a server, and this is why I would do things that would service clients, because having them smile and really happy and give you those contexts or texts, that's like the biggest joy of all, just waiting up into that moment. If you clean a car and then it's all shiny and they're just like, man, I love it. Or now it's just like when I lower their utility bill and they get their panels installed, they're like, oh man, they shot me a long audio message yesterday. It's just like, yeah, I'm so grateful. People are hitting me up. They just want to get, more referrals. Like, thank you so much. The panels, the guys cleaned up after themselves. They did a really good job. And yeah, thank you. And that's kind of, some people want to be famous. Some people want to be rich, but honestly, it's really just being passionate about serving others, because the more people you can help, you can get anything in life as long as you're willing to help as many other people get to where they want to go as well. So as far as the drive and how I actually like approach new things and how I actually, start something new and actually be good at it, I would say the biggest forces too with that, for anybody who wants the secret behind that, it's really just putting yourself in a position where you're uncomfortable as well. That's the most important. So I always knew that, like, people would say that, really big entrepreneurs, I would hear it. I knew this long time ago. And I would say the breaking point of my success and where I actually got successful at is when I was working at Hell's Kitchen as a server, and I was still doing my detailing thing. And I had those were side hustles though. And I was studying and I was doing all I can. But until there was a moment where they, suspended me for like leaving. They said I left early when I really didn't, but they said I left early without checking out. And in that month, I had to make it work. I was just like, dude, I have like $500 to live off of. I had a good week last week, but I got $500 and I don't have any source of income right now. And I don't know what's going to happen with that job. And in that month, that was the realest month of my life. I partnered up with one of my business partners now, started detailing cars and just like really doing what I said I would do, like, but full in. I was full in. So detailing cars, and then I was just getting by doing that. I was working in the business, not on it. And then after that, that's when I got into solar sales, and I literally had nothing else to put my eggs into, And then from there, it's crazy what your mind will do. You'll make it work. You'll find a way to make it happen. And it's being uncomfortable, because that will really stretch you. When you're uncomfortable and you don't know what you're doing, that's the moments of growth. And when you're uncomfortable, it's a good thing, because it just shows you that you are being stretched, you are growing. And there was something else that I wanted to add on to it too. It was really good. I can't think of it right now, but when it comes back to me, I'll let you know. But yeah,
that there's a few different directions I want to head in this, but I want to kind of go into your next superhero, which I picked out for you, which is faith. And, when you're learning something new and you have to be uncomfortable and make it work, there's a different energy when you're approaching that fear-based and conscious-based. And it sounds like you're a little bit more conscious when you're trying something new, and you have faith that it will pay out for you. And so, I asked you this week what, your 3 favorite books and 3 favorite quotes are. And one of the first ones that you gave me was Matthew 7:7. And if you don't know what that is, I'll just read it off for you guys really quick. But it is, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened. So I'm curious, how does spirituality and faith play a role in your success?
Yeah, spirituality and faith, man. That's I would say that's like the biggest part. You know, you always have to have faith. You always have to have that abundance mindset. You always have to have, you know, just knowing it's going to work out regardless, you know, because everything does happen for a reason, and it is going to work out, you know. So because I always would go back to reading, like going back into the Bible, and just the way I would do it, and I wouldn't necessarily look for anything. I would just know what's on my mind, and then I'll just open up the book, and I would always find something that was relatable to my life at that moment. And I always felt like that was God talking to me during that time and guiding me the right way, you know. So it's crazy because Matthew 7:7, I knock doors and I sell solar panels. So that quote is just like, it always sticks in my head while I'm out there, because sometimes, man, it is a grind. You're out there, it's hot, it's 120 degrees, you're sweating, your body is tired, sometimes you'll get your face kicked in, like, no. You always have to have that faith, like, well, reset, I'm going to start over on a new person, and it's a new, and you don't want to carry on that energy from the previous customers you talked to, and you want to start every single door fresh, and you have to go out and perform every single day. It's new every single time. So having faith that I read that quote, and it's literally like pertaining to what I do. So that gives me the actual courage and strength. And then also, you know, you have, it goes back into who you surround yourself with, because those guys, they actually push you as well too. You know, when you're down, if you're tired and you're out of it, you have somebody to rely on. Like, okay, come on, let's go. Hey, pick you up. Come with you. You have a team member to keep you moving forward. You know, that's why it's always done as a group, as a collective effort. You know, because without those key things, you know, and having that belief, you know, that's where it all stems from. You don't need to know how to get somewhere. You just need to know that you're going to get there, and it always works out.
Yeah, I remember just one of the reasons why I also picked faith is after one of your concerts. I've been to multiple of your concerts, and I remember speaking to you, and, you know, I just was like, bro, you're doing amazing. Like, I see you are like so inspiring being up on stage, and you're like, man, I already know I'm going to be successful. Like, that's just what I'm going to be. I'm going to be successful. It was almost a step past faith. It was a sense of knowing that this is just who you are, and these are the steps that you're taking to get there. And, you know, I just remember that moment just sticking out to me very vividly. So faith, since I've known you, man, you've always known this. So I'm curious, what is your definition of success?
What is my definition of success? It's really freedom. That's what it is. Freedom to service others. Freedom to, you know, not have to worry about, hey, I can't buy this. I can't eat. I can't take my girlfriend out to a nice dinner. I can't drive across town because I don't have gas money. I can't, you know, that's, to me, is the ultimate freedom, when you have freedom of resources, and you have freedom of your time, right? You could choose what you want. Like today, it's just like, well, I could take a vacation today, right? And that's my definition of success, just having ultimate freedom. And you know, and there's levels to it. It's just like, well, my next definition of that is being able to give back, you know, in a way that inspires others as well too, and helps a lot of families and things like that, right? So that would be my definition of success for sure.
Great definition. And so to switch directions a little bit, you know, you just talked about getting out of your comfort zone. And for me, you know, I've been to multiple of your shows, And for most people, being up on a stage is the most terrifying thing in the whole world. How was that process for you to get up on stage, and how does it feel when you're up there? Were you always comfortable on stage, or was it something that you cultivated through practice being uncomfortable?
Yeah, so that's actually a really, really good question. Okay, because if you look at me now, it doesn't seem like I'm shy by any means. But back then, I would say, as a kid growing up, I used to be like very introverted. I remember like sitting in class and not saying a word. I probably said less, probably maybe 20 words or 30 words in the entire year. I mean, that was like fifth grade. I did not talk. I was just very quiet. I was very, I was shy too, So I would say everything that I've been doing, with selling candy, that was like therapeutical. That's very therapeutic for me to experience that, growing up, because that opened me up. But then after that, getting into the restaurant industry, that was my whole reasoning behind that. I wanted to be in a position where, I would be practicing that skill of communication, right? Because communication is key. So going in as a busser, you don't really talk that much. And it's just like, I remember getting in that mindset because I was there for 5 years and I didn't really, you're not the one, on the front of the stage talking all the time. So that I was really, shy again at that point. And then it wasn't until I started like trying to become a server and like putting myself out there. I remember like dropping off the actual, was it the like one of the menus. And I remember how scared I was, just like shaking, freaking scared of actually, telling the people about the menu. And it's like overcoming that's what helped me, get to to being able to perform on stage, because when like when you perform on stage, I used to rehearse prior to. So I used to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. So when I would go up there and I would rap and I would do my songs, that part it was rehearsed so many times that I wasn't really scared to do it. I was just like, well, it's just like practice, but now there's people here. And I used to do that in the mirror, right? So you encant yourself into that character, and you believe it. And that's how I always got past it on stage. But then I noticed like after stage, I would still go back into being kind of shy. And I'm like, I thought the music would be like therapeutic and it would make me like good all the way around communicating, So then that's when serving, I would say that even helped more so. Like serving, because pretty much you're on stage all day. You're talking to clients, you're talking to customers, you're talking to the chef, you're talking to the bussers, you're directing them which way to go. So there's really no room of you can't be shy, in that, and you have to say what's on your mind. You have to do that. That's the only way you're going to be successful as a server. So that really enhanced my communication as well. I also did I had like a dating boot camp, to actually get me better with that skill as well through Matt Artisan. That was one of the aha moments. I forgot to mention that earlier. Matt Artisan, really changed my life because he was just like, approach that person and give him a high five. And that was like the first challenge. And I was just like, this stranger, I was just like, no, I was scared. I was freaking scared. And then I did it, and I was just like, that was weird. But that was like the most, like I remember after that week, I just felt like, man, I could do anything. It was such a good feeling. So all all that conditioning, that's what got me to the point where I could speak and I could do the things that I do right now. Because now it's to a whole nother level. You're literally knocking on a door from somebody who might be asleep, drinking coffee or doing something completely else, and you're selling them a solar system which might cost $20, $30, $40, $50, $60,000. So it's like almost insane. If you could do that, you could do anything.
That's amazing, Chris. I mean, I hope people understand the realness of, because I relate to you so much. I grew up as an introvert as a child. Like So much so where my parents thought maybe there was something wrong with me because I didn't talk. Like I did not talk at all. And I remember the moment where my life changed as a child from being an introvert to learning how to be an extrovert. And, I'm at recess, I'm sitting on a wall, and I'm just observing all the other kids playing. And if you like, you can imagine just a kid sitting on the wall and just watching kids play. And I was extremely athletic when I was young, yet I still at recess sat by myself. And I remember watching Foursquare every day. And one of the kids out of probably about 70 kids, 60 kids playing, one day, one kid came up to me and was like, "Hey man," reached his hand out, "come play Foursquare with us. I think you and I can take up the A and B square." And that individual is still my best friend today. And he was extremely extrovert, and he walked around to everyone, and he was so cool, and everyone around would be like Roger, right? And he taught me what the skill set of being an extrovert was, and it was connecting with other individuals. And I just remember that progressed me into, I played sports and being pushed to being a captain and having to like learn how to lead people when I'm like, I am so shy. Why are you guys making me be the leader? I just want to play this sport. And it just over and over again. And then serving, just shout out to all the individuals in the service industry right now, because it is such an artful skill and a profession to be able to handle your attitude, your composure, being professional and communicating over and over again in such a clear manner to your guests and also the people that you work around. But that also developed my skill sets as well. And so, if you are an introvert, you don't have to stay an introvert. You can practice and how to play the extrovert game. And that's what it sounds like you did, is you practice how to be an extrovert, even though when you got off stage, you still went back into kind of your shy shell that we tend to go in. So, I love that story and just the process of becoming extrovert out of an introvert state.
Yeah, and it just comes with, it really does come with practice. So it's just like, for instance, if I was to tell a random person, like, go on stage and perform your favorite song, and they're going to be like, no, I'm too introverted, or anything, getting outside of your comfort zone, they're like, oh no, I'm too introverted. But the key, is just like driving a car. Introverted, if you use that as an excuse, like, I'm introverted, it's really, you're using that excuse, so you're not going to really grow to your full potential, because it's different if you're deciding to not talk just because you just want to be in your own zone and just quiet. That's the difference between being scared to actually do something and not taking that risk because you are too shy to do it, right? So it's just like driving a car. You drive a car. At first, you're driving crazy. You don't really know what you're doing. You don't know how to park. You don't know how to. When you step on the gas, you're like, oh, I stepped on it too hard. And then after a while, you start getting cocky with it. Then now you're driving with one hand. You have your headphones in, and you're looking at your phone, and you're just cocky now. You're just like, I could do anything, whatever. So it's just like practicing communication. At the end of the day, it does take practice. You just have to keep putting yourself out there and practicing uncomfortable things. And then those uncomfortable things that rewire in your brain where you don't think about it as much. You don't think about that. You'll create neural pathways. And now at that point, you're just going to be what was uncomfortable for you before. Now it's comfortable. And then so on and so forth. You're always going to have butterflies when you try something new. But at the end of the day, as long as you practice whatever it is, communications or, gratitude, that's all going to make you build up better.
Yeah, I love that, Chris. And, for the last question that I have for you, during COVID, there are a lot of people that are having such a difficult time. What's one bit of advice or encouragement that you have for them to tap into their inner hero?
It goes back to Matthew 7:7. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and doors will be opened up for you. So just remember that quote, that'll take you through. And then you can have anything you want in life if you are willing and able to help enough other people get what they want. You just remember those two things.
Yeah, definitely. Faith plus action equals answered prayers. So,
yeah.
How can people find you, Chris?
Find me in the street. No, I'm just kidding.
You are going door to door.
You might find me in your neighborhood, man. I might knock on your door.
Yeah.
InfinitySmartHome.energy. InfinitySmartHome.energy.
Cool. Yeah, and definitely follow him at Heart Zoo on Instagram as well.
Or on TikTok, Slackn, SLACKNJAS.
Yeah,
TikTok too.
Yeah, follow him on TikTok. Just through quarantine, we've gotten tons of followers. Where are you at right now with from 0 to how many at this point?
I was at 60,000 now.
60,000 just in just a handful of months. So I love your drive, man. And please, like, if you're, we're coming into a time right now where we are merging into solar energy. And so if you are considering anything like that, please hit Chris up. I know he'll take great care of you. You can tell by his energy, he's just passionate about anything that he taps into. And so, as far as everyone else goes, if you haven't followed us already on Instagram, go ahead and follow A Heroes Academy, and on YouTube, Moments of Aha with A Heroes Academy. And I love you all. Blessings to you all. And Chris, thank you so much again. You're absolutely amazing, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.